Hello, I'm Mrs. Mercer, Decatur Township District Reading Specialist, and I am here to teach your Sunday Level 22 Day 2 lesson for today. You're going to see some slides, and your child is going to give the sound for those letters when they see them. If your child makes an error, you would say, "This is the letter A," which says "a," as in, and then you would show them the keyword slide, and for this letter it would be apple, and then you would have them trace a apple, a 3 times on a textured surface. So they would go a, while looking at the letter. The goal for these following sounds is for your child to produce the sounds rapidly. Make sure to prompt them for the short and the long sound of each vowel and both sounds for Y. We have learned at the end of a short word that the Y makes the I sound. So prompt for both of those as well. I'll still use maybe I'll just say 2 sounds for that because it's not necessarily a short or a long. Okay? And we will go rapidly. If you need to pause the video at any time to give your student extra time, feel free. Prompt for the short and the long sound. Short and the long sound. Short and the long sound. The short and the long sound. Okay, so now we are to the spell sound section of our lesson. I will say a sound, you will repeat the sound, and then you will repeat it and write it. You will do that in this section of your Sunday notebook paper. First sound. Also, if your child makes an error, try to prompt them for the error correction. You would say, I see, I wanted D. Can you tell me what letter makes the D sound? And hopefully they would say D. Okay, say if you don't have D, cross it out. Okay, and write D. Now write it 2 more times, D. D, for extra practice. We always try to get them to do their own error correction. Okay? Excuse me. Okay, so first sound, eh. Repeat, and then repeat and write. Second sound, cl. Gr. Qu. Or all, sp, and sl. Okay, now after you've done all that, we're going to the read words section. So you will take a moment, let me move head around here, and pause the screen and take your finger and read each word. You can sound out, but then make sure that you say the word as a whole word afterwards. If they make an error, say let's trace. Make sure the student is looking at the word, okay? Make them trace each letter and say each sound and then blend. So if they missed club, they would go club, and they would do that 3 times while looking at the word. So pause the video and take a moment to have your child or student read these words. Now we're going to review touch spelling. If you're this far along, you should be in the habit of knowing how to do that. If you're right-handed, your right hand would hold your pen or writing instrument, and you would start with your pinky. If you're left-handed, your left hand would have your writing instrument, and you would start with your thumb, following the left to right sequence of how we write, of how we spell words in the English language. Okay, so now you're in the spell words section. I will say a word, you will repeat a word, you will touch spell the word, and then you will touch spell and write it. You may need to pause the video between sections to give yourself more time. Okay, so for some reason this is not popping up on my screen. Okay, there we go. All right, so I will say a word, you repeat, and then you repeat and write. With. Mall. This is a sight word. Your. Crop. Flush. then, form, check, path, stall, another sight word, said, frill, slush, math, short, and chuck. Take a moment to write those words. If you have to go back or pause the video to give yourself time, feel free to do so. Okay. Okay, now I want you to check your spellings. Okay. All right. So check your spellings. These are the words that you should have written. If you made an error, cross it out while looking at the correct one and write it correctly while sounding it out 3 times. Okay? After you've had a moment to check all your words and make sure they're spelled correctly, I want you to read the list of words just written out loud to someone. Okay? All right. I'm going to move myself around again here. These are a little glitchy today. All right, so now we're to the spell words, phrases, and sentences section. So right here is where you're going to write the sentences that I am going to tell you. Okay, I will say the sentence, you'll repeat the sentence, you will tap out the sentence, 1 word per finger, and then you will write your sentence. Okay, so the first sentence I'm going to give you. What sport do you play? And you will probably need to pause the video to give yourself enough time to write each sentence. Next sentence. Mom said we can stay. Repeat the sentence, tap 1 word per finger, and then write the sentence. You may need to pause the video. Okay. When you've given yourself enough time to write the sentence, I want you to check for accuracy using the CAPS acronym. Look for C, capitalization, A, accuracy. Do you have the correct number of words in your sentence? P, punctuation. Are your ending marks correct? Does it have an exclamation mark, question mark, period? And S, spelling. Are the words in your sentence spelled correctly? Take a moment to do a check. Okay, now we're going to move on to our new learning. Oh, no, actually, let's check real quick. So double check and make sure this is what you have written. Is W capitalized? Did you have a question mark at the end of your sentence? Are your words spelled correctly? Do you have the correct number of words? 5 words. At the bottom, same thing. Do you have the M capitalized? Is your end mark a period? Do you have 5 words? If not, cross it out and write the word correctly. Then read your sentences to someone at home. Okay, very good. Now we're on to the new learning. So today we have sound card 35, and yesterday was sound card 35 as well. Most of these, the ing, ang, ong, and will all be on one card together, but we're presenting them individually. So I want you to say ang. Can you say ang? Okay. Now I want you to trace. While looking at the screen, I want you to say ang. So trace ang, ang, okay? Ang. I don't want you to do sound by sound because it doesn't really sound right. So just trace the letters and then ang 3 times. Okay? And we have the same visual for our keyword because it was hard to find something that shows the past tense of sing. Sang means that they did something and they sang in the past. So we're using the same visual we did for sing. It shows a man singing, but sang means that they did it in the past. So can you say sang? Okay, that's going to be our keyword in our visual. Okay, now I want you to write A-N-G, ang, 3 times right here in the Introduce New Material section. Ang, ang, ang. Okay, so now we're going to practice reading words that have ang in them. So take a moment, pause the video, take your finger underneath the word, and when you see A-N-G, you say ang, okay? So read each of these words. You can say ang, then hang. You want to sound it out and then say it as a whole word. If you can say it as a whole word without sounding out, that's great. Go ahead and do that as well. So pause the video and give yourself time to read that. Okay, now we're into the new material section. So we learned a new sound. We practiced reading words that contain that new sound. And now we're going to practice spelling words with that sound. So I want you to listen carefully. I'm going to say a word. You're going to repeat the word. You're going to touch spell the word. And since we have ang, we know ang says, well, we know we spell ang, A-N-G. You only need to tap one finger. So if I gave you the word rang, you could go r-ang, because you know ang is A-N-G, okay? So you're going to write these words in this section. So remember, I say a word, you repeat, touch spell, then write. First word, sang. And you might need to pause to give yourself enough time. Second word, bang. Third word, rang. Fourth word, hang. Fifth word, slang. Sixth word, gang. Give yourself enough time to spell all of the words. Okay, so now I want you to check, are these the words that you have written? Okay? Do you have them spelled like this? If not, cross them out and write them correctly. After you've checked your corrections, I want you to read the words that you have just written to someone at home. And now we're moving on to the read aloud section. Okay? You'll start seeing that we're going to have repeated read alouds, and this is to increase fluency, which basically means speed in which someone reads. So you are going to probably have to pause the video to give your child enough time to do each reading. I'll try to go kind of slowly to give you time to pause on each page. Okay, so that is the end of our Sunday Level 22 Day 2 lesson for today. Thank you and have a great day.